Welcome to Echoes of the Ancestors. This is The Knocking. It began with a single knock, a soft, deliberate tap on the window pane that caught 8-year-old Caleb's attention as he played with his action figures. The sun was high, its golden rays streaming through the curtains, and the sound was so out of place that he froze, his hand midair. He turned toward the window, his small brow furrowed. "Hello?" he called out tentatively, his voice barely louder than a whisper. Setting his toys aside, he approached the window and pulled the curtain back. The old oak tree stood as it always had, its branches swaying gently in the summer breeze. The yard below was empty save for a stray squirrel darting across the grass. Nothing seemed amiss. Shrugging, Caleb let the curtain fall back into place. It was probably just the tree, he thought. Still, a tiny knot of unease twisted in his stomach. That night, Caleb's sleep was uninterrupted. The next day passed uneventfully, but as he settled into his room after dinner, the knock came again. This time it was louder, more distinct. Caleb's heart jumped as he turned to the window, the fading light outside casting long shadows across his room. "Who's there?" he asked, his voice trembling slightly. He waited, his ears straining for a reply, but there was only silence. Slowly, he approached the window and pulled the curtain aside. Once again, nothing. Just the oak tree and the quiet hum of the evening. By the third day, the knock had become a regular occurrence, and it had shifted to the dead of night. Always between 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. it would wake him with its precise rhythm. 3 sharp raps followed by an almost taunting silence. At first, Caleb would lie awake for hours afterward, his mind racing with possibilities. Was it a bird? A prank? Something worse? But as the days turned to weeks, Caleb began to grow accustomed to the knocks. They became just another sound in the night, like the creak of the house settling or the distant bark of a neighbor's dog. Eventually, he stopped checking the window altogether. Sleep came easier, and the fear began to dull. Then one night, everything changed. Caleb had just drifted off when a knock louder than ever before jolted him awake. He sat up, his heart pounding. The room felt strange, heavier somehow, as though the air itself was pressing down on him. The knocking came again, rapid and urgent, as though whatever was outside could no longer bear to wait. He wanted to ignore it, to pull the blanket over his head and pretend it wasn't happening. But something about the intensity of the sound made that impossible. This wasn't like the other nights. Whatever was out there wanted him to notice. Caleb swung his legs over the side of the bed, his bare feet touching the cold floor. He approached the window slowly, each step feeling like a mile. His breath came in shallow gasps as he reached for the curtain, his fingers trembling. He hesitated. What if it was dangerous? What if opening the curtain was exactly what it wanted? The thought sent a shiver down his spine, but the knocking persisted. Relentless and demanding. Summoning every ounce of courage, Caleb grabbed the edge of the curtain and yanked it back. The knocking stopped. For a moment, there was nothing but silence. Caleb's breath hitched as he stared into the darkness beyond the glass. His eyes widened, his mouth opening in a silent scream. But what he saw, no one would ever know. The next morning, Caleb's parents found him sitting on his bed, the curtains wide open. He stared blankly at the window, his face pale, his lips curved into the faintest hint of a smile. He never spoke of the knocking again, and he never closed the curtains at night.